Welcome again. It's time for the panel discussion. I invite Dr. Gursharan Dhanjal, Vice Chairman, SKOCH Group, to take it forward. Dr. Dhanjal.
Well, thank you, Deepak, for the beautiful introduction that you did in the beginning. And I've had the pleasure of going through the announcement of Order of Merit. Several such projects which are based on innovation have actually been assessed, and several of them are actually going to make it to the finalist list at the end of the day. So I'm eagerly looking forward to it. Come to think of innovations in governance, this is one subject that has become a key driver of the transformation in the 21st century. Whether it is, the state governments or the central government, historically though, we have not been very, very creative. We have just pushed the envelope. But come 2014, the cornerstone of the year when the foundation stone for the Digital India was laid, our risk-taking ability has really, really increased. We become creative and are all out to innovate. This is something which has actually changed the entire culture of governance, bringing in innovation and creativity. This is precisely what this panel, would like to discuss, which is innovations in e-governance. We have an esteemed panel with us. Let me have the pleasure of introducing Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, who is Principal Secretary, Information Technology, Electronics and Communications in Telangana. He has actually played a pivotal role in developing policy frameworks, attracting new investments, identifying opportunities for utilizing IT in various government processes. It also promoted the digital empowerment of the citizens. In recognition of his achievements and contributions, he was recently conferred the SKOCH Award. Mr. Sri Vyas HM, Project Director, Center for E-Governance, Karnataka. Amongst several e-governance initiatives he has launched, he is currently in charge of the DigiLocker National Academic Depository, E-Shamasathi, E-Shamati, Mahiti Kanaja, Karnataka Open Data Initiative, Informatics, Capacity Building, and e-Kannada projects. Each and every of these have had a significant impact. Last but not the least, Mr. Venkatesh S., who is Joint Director Technology at Tamil Nadu E-Governance Agency, Tamil Nadu. To take the discussion further, the mission e-governance now is coupled with Digital India, as already talked about, and that's actually brought in a paradigm shift. Whether it is the delivery of healthcare, education, agri support, financial services, and social obligations, all have moved in a mission mode. And in fact, India really, really has transformed in the last 5 years, partly because there's been a huge amount of push beginning 2014, and the rest was contributed by COVID. COVID has been a greatest success ever. It's a case at a global scale. And M-Kisan, E-NAM, E-District, they've really, really moved very fast. So people, processes, technology, and resources have been the key pillars of India's digital governance. Moving forward, it is vital to take such initiatives more efficient, robust, and relevant to the emerging technologies, where more and more and major businesses are brought into focus, help the governance go on to the next level. In this backdrop, I pose 3 questions to the panel. Since we have half an hour and there are 3 panelists here, each question I would invite panelists to take 3 minutes to answer, so that we are able to cover all the 3 questions in a given time frame, and give maybe 5-7 minutes at the end for a discussion and Q&A. So my first question is, the next stage in e-governance is digital governance, no doubt about that. We have the digital infrastructure in place. That also holds vast amount of data. Given the complexity of data involved, with more and more coming to sit on top, there is pressure on the digital infrastructure. There is need to keep it secure and transaction costs, keeping it low. Any system that restores control to consumers and business must be not only digital, but have to be more and more secure. So what are the challenges and what are the next steps in digital governance given the current context? May I ask Mr. Jayesh Ranjan?
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gursharan, and greetings to fellow panelists. Greetings to all the participants. I like the discipline that you have introduced, that we have to answer in 3 minutes. So I've kept my phone next to me. It is 3:05. I'll stop at 3:08. But nevertheless, it is definitely a very important question. Digital governance is a very important priority for all of us, including us here in Telangana. You will, many of us will know that when we had the combined state of Andhra Pradesh, we were the pioneers in introducing G2C services through an assisted methodology, which is called e-Seva. And then when Telangana became a new state, that was reformed into a newer version, which is called Me Seva. And few years ago, we have developed an updated version of that Me Seva, which is called Me Seva 2.0. So large number of 600 plus government services are delivered. But now we have realized that just creating kiosks in different villages and offering the 600 services is still not enough. In fact, we now are familiar with the global best practice, which is followed in the Republic of Estonia. Many of you will know it's a small Baltic country, but renowned the world over for its digital prowess. So we have been there. I've studied their systems, etc. So they follow 4 fundamental principles. The principles are like this. So the first is paperless, that there is no need for any paper to move. You don't have to do anything on paper. Everything is digital. The second is contactless. Like you don't need to meet someone to get your work done. I mean, everything is done using devices, using machines. The third is presenceless. Like you don't have to be physically be present. Like in India, typically you are called to an office. Even our Me Seva centers are centers where you have to physically go there and meet the Me Seva operator. And the next 2 principles are anytime and anywhere. So typically in India, government offices have an office timing, and there are jurisdictions. So for example, I live in Begumpet. I can renew my driving license only in that RTA office where Begumpet is a jurisdiction. But in Estonia, it is anywhere, anytime, paperless, presenceless, contactless. So I guess this is the way evolution of digital governance will happen. And already we have started working on it. Quite a few services of ours have been transformed in this format. I gave the example of driving licenses. That is one very good example. When you have to renew your driving license, when you are applying for the driving license for the first time, you have to go because you have to pass a driving test, and that can't be done digitally. You have to actually, before their eyes, drive a car or a scooter or a motorcycle and show that you know how to drive. But then when you renew your driving license, we have followed all the 5 principles of Estonia and made it completely user-friendly, new generation version of digital governance. And there are many other services that we want to deliver that way. So these are my kind of opening remarks for the first 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. In fact, we've always been talking about paperless, contactless, anywhere and anytime and anywhere. In fact, the presenceless is a very important element because there are certain things which is what you actually can do without being physically present. You gave the example of driving license. Definitely yes, because such services where either the physical test or otherwise your physical health or medical is involved, barring those things, the rest of the things are actually anywhere in anytime, anywhere. Driving license itself, you can go anywhere in the country and apply and get a driving license, provided you have your papers with you and pass through the test. Excellent. So I'll come back to you asking for more. In the meanwhile, let me move over to Mr. Srivyas H.M., Project Director, Center for E-Governance, Karnataka. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Gurushran and SKOCH team for giving me the privilege. Yeah, I would like to complete within 3 minutes. Let me start with continuation to what Mr. Ranjan sir told. See, in Karnataka, what we are doing, when we started way back in 2003 and 2004, it was electronic delivery of citizen services was through some service centers like Nemadi centers and all. But over a period of 20 years, it's got transformed a lot. Like, now it is not only the entry and exit is online. Now, entire journey, it's focused on the citizen. Like, there is no other stakeholder. I mean to say, now we don't want any citizens to apply for any schemes. So we are proactive mode that without applying for any scheme, the state can deliver the services. That is called proactive delivery of citizen services. So what I feel, the days are gone asking for the citizens or beneficiaries to come and apply for schemes and run behind the government officers. So this now, as the previous person rightly mentioned, it is presence-less, paperless, and even without applying, that the services should deliver to the targeted citizens. For example, if a citizen is 59-year-old now, then when the government knows that he is going to become 60 years, why should we ask him to apply for his social security pension? See, the problem with the existing system is, if we to give any benefit, we ask them to provide half a dozen of certificates or documents, which is again issued by the either the state government or the central government. So our own issued documents, we are demanding them to give it. So these are the areas we are working. We are working on the business process re-engineering thing. So I think with this, I would like to conclude my introductory remarks.
Well, thank you so much. In fact, from business process re-engineering, we move to the government process re-engineering, and there have been a number of strides that have already been taken place all around the country and several states. And both put together, there is going to be a digital process re-engineering, which is now the next step. So with this, I invite Mr. Venkatesh S., Joint Director, Technology, Tamil Nadu E-Governance Agency.
So good afternoon, sir. Sir, as you rightly pointed out, now we are moving towards the data-centric governance. That's what we, TNEGA in Tamil Nadu, also do. We are, as everybody said, we are moving towards the concept of predictive governance. TNEGA is also working on the same line. And as this digital governance is concerned, way back in 2008, when common service centers were opened throughout the state, we had no service to deliver at the time. But so now we are coming with lot of services. And again, now in Tamil Nadu, around we provide 231 services, citizen-centric services online. And now, as far as digital governance is concerned, we are having different departments maintaining data with them, and everything is working in silos. So the major challenge for digital governance, as far as we are concerned, is that how do we integrate all those data and come with a concept of metadata or something like that, and how we can integrate all those departments databases, and how we are going to provide a solution for all the departments. This will be, now we are working towards that only. It will be a one-stop solution for all the data departments based on data-centric governance. For this purpose, we have started our Tamil Nadu data-driven decision support system. And as far as security is concerned, as you rightly mentioned, the major issue is that how these data are going to be kept, because these involves both privacy issues as well as some confidential data would be there. So the challenge would be in integrating those databases and the maintaining security. So what kind of mode we are going to follow, those are the challenges we are facing, and we are working on those items. This would be my introductory remarks, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So what I actually derive from what you're saying is that, moving on to the data-centric governance and the predictive governance, the most important challenge is how to integrate the data and how to keep it secure. In fact, that is something which takes me to my next question. Then how can, in this context, new technologies like open source, we've been talking of AI, ML, now we have robotics, the blockchain also, which is what everyone is touting as the future for the coming decade. How should government focus on implementing them? Because A, these technologies are expensive, and then there is no uniform implementation all across the country. Some states may be ahead, some states may be lagging behind. Mr. Ranjan, would you like to answer this?
Sure. These are, of course, very path-breaking technologies. And already there are countless examples within the government, including with us in Telangana, how we have used some of these technologies like AI, blockchain, etc., in solving some very critical problems, which at one point in time have appeared very intractable. So the experience is very positive, and definitely we want to do more and more and more. So with any emerging technology, we follow a template, which is a very common template. So first of all, we prepare a policy framework. So for example, for artificial intelligence, what does the government want to do? What is our responsibility? What are the areas in which we want to partner with others? So that policy framework comes out. And for AI, we brought it out in 2019, late 2019. Then the second is that we create an institution which will implement that policy. So the institution, again, to continue with the artificial intelligence example, in Telangana is called TAIM, Telangana Artificial Intelligence Mission. And it has representatives, of course, from the government, but we also bring other stakeholders like private companies, academic institutions, Government of India institutions, startups. So they are all there. And then one of the, the various things that we promise to deliver through the policy, through the institution. One is skilling, one is use cases, one is innovation, one is partnerships. So action happens on all those fronts. So one very important thing is adoption by the government itself. And in all these policy frameworks, we mention this, that if there is any solution or product which is homegrown, which has been created by an entity in Hyderabad, it could be a private company, it could be a startup, it could be an academic institution. And if that solution or product is relevant to the government, I will implement it as a guarantee. I'll become your first customer as an assurance to you. I will not put you through any procurement process. I'll take it bilaterally from you. And this has worked quite well. So as I said, between all these emerging technologies, I can proudly share with you that there would be at least 4 dozen plus solutions that have been implemented in the state of Telangana by sourcing the solution from one of the local entities. Just one additional minute, I'll give a very relevant example, a recent example. Again, in my opinion, a breakthrough example. We have demonstrated how it is possible to vote remotely. See, in India, you have to go to a polling booth to cast your vote. And we all know that it's a very, very cumbersome process. Possibly voting percentage comes down, at least in the cities, just because you have to take the trouble of going to a booth and standing in a queue and face all kinds of hassles. So first time ever, we have showcased that it is possible to do it remotely by sitting at your home using your device. And as you know, in India, even EVMs are not without criticism. Typically, a party which loses an election claims that EVMs were tampered with and all that. So given this kind of a context of conducting elections in India, we have showcased that how identity can be established, how vote can be secured by using AI-based facial recognition technology, by using blockchain-enabled voting procedure. And these are the capabilities or potential of emerging technologies, which we have started to exploit big time in Telangana.
You rightly said, because when technologies are harnessed to improve the governance and bringing people and government processes closer, it definitely is a boon. But when it comes to the data safety and security, the same kind of technologies are used in different things which have come up, like crypto and gaming. And that has actually posed a challenge, and that is the reason as to why we have, while are veering towards adopting these technologies, we're also at the same time very, of course, need to be careful, but we are also scared. So how to strike a balance, Jayesh, if I may ask you?
See, completely agree with you that we have to strike a balance. We have to look at, so since you have mentioned gaming, let me give you that example. So in Telangana, gaming has been banned, online gaming. I mean online gaming. And the reason for this ban was because the police made this call. The police informed all of us that large number of young people have got addicted. They are exploited. Lots of cheating and fraud is happening, and people have committed suicides because of the debts and things like that. So, I mean, they have made some very valid point. But then we also examined and realized that blanket ban is not the solution, because gaming also gives an opportunity for game developers. This is a career opportunity, jobs are created. It contributes to the economy. In fact, there are certain games of skill which come under the bracket of esports, which are actually going to be Olympic sports. At some point in time, medals will be awarded in esports. So can you ban everything just because certain ills are happening in that domain? So we decided that we'll embark on a balanced view. Let us remove the ban, but create lots of very strong internal checks and balances so that all this misuse does not take place. So how do you do internal regulation? How do you ensure that a bot is not introduced in the game which cheats everyone? How do you look at underage gaming? How do you tighten your KYC norms? How do you monitor how much amount someone is really using into, and things like that? So this is an example in which we can strike a balance. We can pursue the good which comes out of it. And incidentally, gaming has also been introduced for lots of social good, socially relevant, and what is called gaming for good kind of initiative. So let us not miss out on all those opportunities. But at the same time, no state will agree if people get addicted, if cheating happens, fraud happens, suicides happen. So we have to be very careful about all these things.
Great, thank you. Mr. Srivas, HM, on the technology, with my original question, that how can new technologies like open source, cloud computing, AI, ML, blockchain, while being the future technologies, should the government focus, how should the government focus on implementing all of these together?
Yeah, thank you. See, undoubtedly, these are the latest technologies are very, very useful for the government to deliver the services to the citizens effectively. But one should think of fundamental questions like data quality and data standardization and interoperability between the data. It's very, very important, because when the government systems were implemented, these things were not a concern. These were not in there in the design, whether data privacy. So one should think of all these things, because presently in our state, when we are building a data lake, we are finding it very difficult, because every department has maintained data in a different way. It cannot be operable and it cannot be shared between the department. So one should think of the fundamentals of how data standardization should happen, how the data quality can be improved. Then once we have the cleaning, cleansed data, because we all know that cleansing data will cost 8 times more than the generating the data. So once we have the cleansed data, probably building applications using AI, ML, and blockchain will add so much of value to the service delivery. One example I would like to go to here, we have built a system called social registry called Kutumba. In that, we were able to, using AI, we were able to, identify in one particular district, in one particular taluka, I don't want to name it, there were about 23,500 people were drawing social security pension. But as per the, database of birth and death, it says they are dead. So we're able to weed out in one small taluka. So see, these are the power of, cutting edge technologies which can actually do the computation and say that this fellow is actually not there as per, but he's still drawing pension. So we're able to save so much of money for the government. So I'm sure technology like blockchain we are using for the property registration. And also at the other side, if you see, we should not, we should think, one should think whether the use of such technologies is really required to solve a particular problem. Most of the time, just to use the buzzwords, we use the technology. So the one should think about whether the applicability, whether we really required because, to store something, do I really need blockchain technology or not? Should I think? So this is my feedback. And yes, definitely, no doubt, once we have the cleansed data, once we have the data quality, these tools and techniques can bring out a lot of changes in the way we deliver services to the citizens.
Excellent. Mr. Venkatesh?
Sir, in the recent times, it is essential for some of the departments to have AI or ML-based applications. Generally, say for example, in Tamil Nadu, we are applying this AI ML applications for Tamil Nadu Electricity Board and all to know the consumption pattern of all kinds of individuals and companies, so that it helps us for policy making. What would be the average consumption, or what would be the annual consumption for next 1 or 2 years? So these kinds of applications will be there, and most rightly said by sir, it is necessary to have a proper data that will determine whether whether it will be applicable to these government agencies or not. Moreover, in Tamil Nadu, we have few AI-based applications that was developed in-house by Tamil Nadu e-governance agency itself. One application, thanks to COVID, instead of having biometric based attendance, we have developed a facial recognition attendance system, and the same has been implemented in various offices in Tamil Nadu. And the next is that we have one application called eParvai, which has won NASSCOM Game Changer Award for 2021, where it is a Android mobile-based application, helps in detecting cataract. Just an application, it will say that whether you have a cataract or not. So apart from this, we have blockchain infrastructure being developed by government of Tamil Nadu, where we do POCs, proof of concept. And generally, we have taken 2-3 concepts like applying blockchain technology for registration department for the sales that has happened. And the second is for the land records that are being maintained. So, and moreover, we are also partnering with a lot of private players, and we are having a lot of workshops to know what is the latest technologies that are in the private sectors, and we are getting some kind of knowledge sharing by them. So we have these kind of applications that are, and we are focusing more on AML based technologies also. Thank you.
Yeah, in fact, one last question, 2 minutes each. This is a softer one while we are discussing the hard subjects like technology. Technology, in fact, kind of have the nature of alienating people. When there is no man-to-man connect, the social milieu gets impacted. And that is something which we have actually seen at several places, that there was cohesiveness in the society. There was a lot of social milieu, but with the introduction of technology, there are pockets in which the nuclear social groups have started developing without having any interaction. So that is one part of it. And also the second is there is also impact on the economic growth through technology-focused governance. Of course, it spurs, it accelerates everything, but that's the side effect of that. Again, Jayeshji, I would like to start with you. How to strike a balance between the two? Otherwise, this is going to go out of hand.
No, completely agree that addiction to devices, something possibly you are alluding to, has made each of us more lonely, more selfish, more self-centered. In fact, lots of children have reported psychological kind of issues. I mean, their families have reported about withdrawal symptoms, not getting properly adjusted in a social context, etc., because of addiction to devices. So that is definitely a problem which we need to collectively address. It can happen to anyone and everyone. But at the same time, possibility of using technology to bind communities is also being seen. In fact, particularly in the area of agriculture, some very good examples come to our mind. We have implemented some of them. In fact, the very first one was pioneered in the combined state of Andhra Pradesh, which is called e-Chaupal. And the name itself suggests Chaupal. I mean, since there are people from southern Indian states who may not know of this term, Chaupal is a kind of a public gathering where people gather and chat, etc. So e-Chaupal was introduced by ITC to bring farmers together so that they discuss their marketing issues. Many of the agriculture digital interventions that we are promoting in Telangana, they also have that community focus. Like you need to come together and then using some app or some kind of a screen, some knowledge sessions are conducted through which you learn more about your farm practices, etc. Similarly, digital classrooms are again opportunities for students to come together and look at their lessons, etc. So we have to explore more and more such opportunities through which that social binding, social cohesiveness is promoted. And things like this addiction to devices, which causes withdrawal syndromes, etc. We must find collectively solutions.
Thank you. Mr. Srivyas, quick reaction to this.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Every technology or anything, it has its own side effect. Probably one to think about, educating the use of technology, to what extent it should be. Probably creating that awareness will also help to some extent to balance the such side effects. Then coming to the use of technology to bind the society is something we have explored in multi-folds. Like, for example, we have implemented a project called Mahiti Kalja in Karnataka, which actually helps the people from the remote places, from panchayats. They can connect with other panchayat people. There we do a public dialogue, digital dialogue happens, so they can understand and they can ask this kind of information is required on the portal. So that person who is sitting in the remote place can access that information. You can know what are the benefits. So I'm sure it has both pros and cons, but one, and maybe a government should also think of proactively educating the citizens to balance, strike the balance. So digital divide is again another challenge, but yeah, these are the challenges we in front of us. We have to work on those things.
Thank you. Mr. Venkatesh.
Sir, as rightly said, there is a lot of pros and cons involving technology. Say, for example, all these banking frauds and everything happens also because of technology. But everything has some kind of solution. And now also there are a lot of solutions are being available, but lack of awareness is one main reason for these technological and banking related frauds. And moreover, if you say implementing technology should be end to end. If it is not completely digitized, there is lot of chance for frauds can happen. So end to end solution should be there, and it also brings lot of transparency in governance. Apart from that, now we are chatting through VC instead of being a physical meet. It brings lot of convenience also to people. So mostly the good part we can take and the worst part we can leave it. Thank you.
Well said. Let's look at the positive side of it rather than the negative. Of course, have to be mindful of the pros and cons of what the technology brings along with that. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, Jayeshji, Srivyasji, and Venkateshji for joining us for this discussion. Of course, we have overshot by 4 minutes. I wish we had more time, but I have to say my heartfelt thanks to all the 3 panelists. Thank you very much for being with us.